the Indian Army has made an appeal asking all sections of the population to support its endeavours in restoring peace in the state of Manipur. The Army says women activists in Manipur have been deliberately blocking routes and interfering in operations of security forces, and they have shared a video highlighting such incidents of such interference that has taken place, including incidents in a village in the eastern part of Imphal where it had to release 12 insurgents to local leaders to save local lives, which it described as a mature decision, as protesters led by women had put up a blockade and stopped security forces from moving. Among those who had to be released to local leaders was someone who was identified as the person responsible for the attack on the 6th. This is the attack which took place in 2015 as far as the Dogra regiment is concerned, where 18 soldiers were killed when a road opening partly that was ambushed. So that is the situation on the ground. So the army there has been appealing to citizens not to interfere as far as security operations are concerned. They've released that video as far as that incident is concerned. These are not just one-off incidents, but there are multiple incidents that have occurred of interference. They are appealing to all to support peace efforts. Security forces have now been deployed in Manipur in order to restore peace. So that video that has been released by the army, which shows, the interference by women protesters, that this is a protest that was led by women, and they had put up a blockade and they'd stopped security forces from moving. Among those who had to be released to local leaders was someone who was identified as the person responsible for the attack which took place back in 2050, the Dogra regiment attack, where 18 soldiers were killed when a road opening was ambushed. So this is, the situation on the ground. So it has been over 2 months since the unrest in the state of Manipur, which started on the 3rd of May. So my colleague Saurabh joins us to get us more details. Saurabh, take us through that video, which is highlighting the incidents of interference, and it's not just men but even women who are hampering the operations on the ground.
That's right. The army has in fact, in a video that it has put out, made an appeal to all sections of society and all sections of people in Manipur to help the army restore law and order and not interfere in operations of security forces, which they say has been the case, highlighting instances of several groups, including women's groups, coming out on the streets, creating blockades, not allowing security forces to pass, or even going as far as to dig up roads to ensure that the movement of security forces engaged in law enforcement in Manipur is hampered. And this is, of course, what the army has said in its statement, asking people, making an appeal, also referring to the incident where the army had to release 12 insurgents because of the fact that they were, there was a blockade by women, and the army described it as a mature decision by the commander, saying that it was actually, done to save locals' lives and ensure there's no collateral damage in any of these security operations. So the army also going on to say that being humane is not weak, but obviously there is, of course, also a history of women being involved in Manipur in incidents where they've resisted security forces, and this, of course, is not something new to Manipur. It is something that has been there even in the past. Historically, it's been there even when there has been other conflicts in the past in Manipur. There have been occasions where women have been at the forefront of those protests as well, often clashing with security forces. So in that context, really, this is not the first time this has happened in Manipur, but in this ethnic conflict, which started in May, early May, there seems to be also something that the army is pointing out, that there have been women groups and women who've been, leading blockades and stopping security forces and allowing insurgents to, escape, including one of them whom the army identifies as someone who was very closely involved and perhaps even the mastermind of the ambush on the 6th Dogra Regiment in 2015, which led to loss of lives of military personnel engaged in security operations in Manipur. So yes, that's the appeal that the army is making as far as Manipur situation is concerned, asking everyone to cooperate, helping the army to help Manipur.